I had a great Christmas. It was really nice to go home and see my family and my friends. It's also really nice to be back, especially after you get a couple days home. You feel refreshed and excited.
Same. My Christmas was amazing with my family, and then just coming back, I feel like I just missed everybody's energy, personality, so it's great to be back.
When did y'all get back?
The 26th?
Yeah.
Hers was a little different, but I got back on the 26th around 6.
I got back on the 27th in the morning because my flight was on Southwest and it got canceled.
Oh, not Southwest.
I was going to ask about South.
Yeah.
Conference opener. What's your feelings about that? I mean, it's been a minute since y'all played, so kind of get right back into it.
I'm excited. I feel like this is my 3rd year in the Big 12, and it's just always exciting. We know we always have a target on our back regardless, and we know we're going to get everybody's best game. So this is exciting for all the new people because we have so many new people to have their first game against the Big 12 team. I'm really excited.
Jana, you're one of those new people.
Yeah.
I mean, you've obviously been through, Pac-12 seasons, but what have they kind of told you about what to expect Big 12-wise?
Well, I don't really know what to expect until I see the scout because I haven't played in the Big 12, but I'm really excited for it, and I know it's going to be a lot different. I feel good energy around it, and I know it's competitive, so I'm excited.
Have you kind of feel like you've settled into your role of kind of coming off the bench and bringing some energy?
I think I'm settling into my role more and more every day. I just try to work hard and see what happens, and I'll always bring energy, so yeah.
Jana, your numbers have been going up. Productivity's been going up. Is that a product of feeling like you're more settled in, or is it just kind of the work you've put in paying off?
Probably a little bit of both. My teammates really have my back when I need to get into a groove. So, if I'm struggling, I'll be like, Jaden, help me out. And she does, and kind of fills me with that love and that confidence, and then that in turn helps me. I also put in a lot of work, so it's nice to see when that pays off too.
I want to say something about Jana really quickly. You said her numbers. I feel like that just kind of shows, just who she is. When her numbers were not as high as they are now, she was still the first one off the bench, up clapping and stuff like that. And, regardless of how her game was, she was everybody's number one cheerleader. And now, that her numbers are up, she's still the exact same person. So I feel like it's just, she's getting more comfortable and she's settling in and she knows what she's capable of. And it's just, this isn't, she has so much more. So that's why I'm super excited. And I don't even know if y'all are aware of, how much she has in store. So I just wanted to say that really quickly.
That made me cry.
Where are you at health-wise in terms of, obviously, you missed last game?
I'm good. I'm good. We were just doing a lot of it just for preventative reasons and stuff like that, just so now that we're hitting conference play, I'm ready to go. And yeah, no problems health-wise.
How have you been in terms of, we talking about roles and how you've kind of filled that new role as kind of more involved in the offense? Obviously, when you lose someone like Melissa, someone's got to step up. Where do you think you become comfortable in that?
I feel like I answered this maybe a month ago when y'all asked me about my role the first time. I really, whatever is needed to be done, I will do. Whether it's scoring, defense, assist, whatever that game is needed. Because we have so many threats offensively and defensively. I don't have to score for us to win. It would be great, but the way we have perimeter players that can knock down shots and get to the rim, my points is not, you know what I'm saying? I just want to do whatever is needed each game.
Jaden, obviously, you guys are the defending Big 12 champs for a long time now. It's a grind of a Big 12 season, but do you guys talk about as a team of trying to kind of maintain that tradition?
Always. I feel like that's something, at the end of the day, that's our first goal. Before we get into March Madness and so on, we have to focus on what's in front of us. So that is definitely one of our goals, but at the same time, we want to be the best versions of us. We want to be what we know we're capable of being, and whatever that is in store, we're going to focus on ourselves, what we have to do for the team, and hopefully that comes out to leading the Big 12 again.
Jaden, obviously you guys found your groove halfway through the conference season, but you kind of limped into Big 12 play a little bit in terms of y'all's start. How do you avoid that this time around?
I don't know. It's, I think, once again, focusing on ourselves of what we need to do, and everything that happened in the past is in the past. I feel like this is kind of like a new start, a fresh start. We've had our bumps in the roads. We've hit our obstacles. That's all lessons, and we just take everything as a step-by-step process.
I also think Nicki does a really good job of keeping us present. Like, be where your feet are. This game, like, the game in front of us is the most important thing at that time, and so it's just like we always have the right focus and energy put into what we need it to be put into.
Coming from Stanford, do you feel comfortable with the target on your back? Does it feel natural now being?
I'm good. Yeah, it's fine.
Jana, despite being new to Baylor, you are a veteran just in terms of experience. So how can you kind of rally those around you that are struggling? You know, Jaden talks about you being that teammate that's there for them, and you talk about Jaden being there for you. But just as a veteran who's been in that and been in big moments, how can you kind of help those around you that might struggle, you know, early on or just throughout the season?
I think college basketball is hard, and a lot of people know that. And so it's like, how are you going to get through it every single day? I honestly find a lot of, like, confidence when I'm picking up other people. Because if I can fill them up with love and, like, purpose and whatever, then they're going to perform better. And then that's just a chain reaction. They'll do it to their teammates, et cetera. So it's like, that's the most important thing to me, and I think to our team, is, like, building each other up so that we're one unit, and that's how we're going to be successful.
Y'all, and obviously Jaden, you missed the last game, but y'all had several players in and out of the lineup. How do you adjust to that? Just, I mean, Asia's been out, Caitlin was out at the beginning of the year, just different people in and out of the lineup.
I think it's funny because Coach Nicki just talked to us about it, how we've had, 8 different, like, starting rotations. So, like, it's an adjustment, but I feel like that's just each day, everybody has an opportunity to step up. Everybody has an opportunity. If I'm out or Jana can step up, or if Jana's in, I need to step up. Everybody has that opportunity. So I feel like it's just open opportunity. And I think that makes the team better at the same time because everybody's like, oh, this could be my time to show what I'm capable of. And it's just like a domino effect each time.
Did you think about what it would be like if everybody was available, that kind of thing?
I mean, it would be scary, in my opinion, like having all these threats. And we say that all the time, like, bruh, imagine if we had everybody. But right now, that's just not what God wants for us. So we're going to be patient and wait.
So we're being present in the moment.
Yes.
Anybody else? Great.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's honestly, it's no different than playing a non-conference game, because they have one player that's in their rotation that played last year, and don't ask me to pronounce her name, number 2, and so because of that, you know, they're a team full of transfers, and I mean there are some similarities in terms of posts that like to face up, but you know, they don't run a single play that they ran a year ago. Last year they ran a lot of elbow action, kind of Princeton stuff, and this year they're very set driven and staggers, and Tommy is, you know, their most aggressive scorer and does a good job shooting threes and then scoring at the rim and drawing fouls and is a 90% foul shooter. They certainly rival us in terms of free throw shooting. And I don't mean that as a positive, but you know, I think they play really hard. I think they're hanging their hat on defense right now. They struggle to score, but they really get after you defensively. They're going to mix man and zone. They're going to press. So nothing that we haven't seen, but you know, they're pretty athletic defensively and pretty interchangeable. So that's similar to last year in terms of like some interchangeable parts. You know, the kid that they've started at the point more recently, they started at the power forward to start the season, and now Roxanne, another name I'm not sure I can pronounce, is now kind of running the point for them, and then they bring Fisher, the American transfer, off the bench to run the point, and then she moves off of the point. So just, you know, kind of these interchangeable lineups where we have to constantly be communicating what position are they, who are we guarding them with, you know, who their shooters are and things like that. So they'll definitely, you know, be competitive for sure.
Coach, in terms of as you go into Big 12 play, a lot of new parts of this team, but do you last year, and we still got punched in the mouth the first couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't know that we want to talk about getting punched in the mouth. We certainly have talked about how what we've done so far isn't good enough to put, a championship in 23 at the end of the one that's up in the practice gym for 22. And I think the tough part for me as a coach has been, a year ago, there was no question, regardless of whether we were dealing with COVID coming out of Christmas and the reason why we maybe lost those first 2 games. And maybe we would have lost them regardless. I'm not, but I think we knew we started the same lineup every game. Jaden came off the bench first at the guards. Kate came off the bench first at the post. We knew that was a 7-player rotation. We kind of knew who we were. Like when I watch Kansas, they know who they are. When I watch Oklahoma, they know who they are. They know who they're going to play to and play through. And I think by nature of the way our non-conference has gone, we're still trying to figure that out, and I hate saying that because I don't want to be in that situation. But when you play 12 games and you've had like 7 or 8 different starting lineups, and you're not quite sure when Asia's going to get back, or we weren't sure if Dre was going to get eligible, like just all these different things that are going on, you're still kind of, trying to figure out like, okay, against this team we can go this way, but against the, we struggled. You want to play a big lineup and play big at the 3, but then we lose ball handling, and then you start getting trapped, and then we start throwing the ball all over the gym. And, part of that is, we put so much pressure on Sarah in that last game to make every play because we didn't have a secondary ball handler out there. And it's not that I don't think Jana or Jamie are capable, but they're just not as comfortable with the ball in their hands as Jaden. But then if you take Jamie off the floor and play big at the 3, now you've lost the shooting and, kind of the defense and peskiness that you get, and Jamie a lot of times is our most reliable defender, especially on shooters. And so, you get in these dilemmas where you want to play big, but then, so it can be game to game for this team. What do we need in this particular game? And so it may not be comfortable for me. Maybe I just have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and figure out each and every game, like, this is how we can win this game. This is how we can compete. This is how, we put our imprint on this game. But I do think players eventually, they get comfortable knowing what their role is. They get comfortable knowing I'm the first post off the bench, or I'm the first post off the bench as long as, X, Y, and Z. There are certain people Kendra can guard and certain people she can't. So, I trust her offensively. I trust, that she knows our stuff and that she's going to be a communicator, and I trust her box out ability and things like that. But, if it's a super athletic kid or someone that's going to drive by her, then, I have to decide game to game, like who works best, and I've told her, like, hey, when you show me that regardless of who you're going against, that you can dominate them at one end or the other, then I'm not going to make those decisions. Kalani probably couldn't guard a quick perimeter post. Didn't matter, because that kid absolutely could not guard Kalani. And so you make those mismatched decisions, but until you prove that you're dominant enough in one area to make up for what maybe your weakness is, then it's hard. And I have to play chess match.
To that end, can the upside of all the different lineups you've trotted out there be that you're hard to scout?
I think the uniqueness of our team and I is we do have so many players that are capable of having big games. We're getting ready to play against a team that has one double-figure score. And so you can certainly key in on what does Tommy do well? How do we take that away? If we defensive rebound against them well, it may be a challenge for them to score if we take care of the ball, which big asterisk there, and so I do think, we have multiple scoring options, and I think why we become hard to guard at times is when we do share the ball well and the most open person gets the ball, we're capable of scoring at all 5 spots most of the time on offense. We don't play a lot of people who aren't capable of putting the ball in the basket. And so, but I think when you play us, I think you're going to take certain things away. You're going to try to run Jamie off the 3-point line and make her a decision maker off the bounce. I think you're not going to guard our post that can't shoot it on the perimeter and really sink in. You're probably not going to go guard Erica or Kendra or some of our posts on the perimeter. Like, I think everyone's going to just play personnel to some degree and then just try to take strengths away. Or, hey, if we trap it, let's make sure we understand when we rotate, who's out there. If it's a 2-on-1 situation, who's the shooter? Who would we rather have shoot it? If Jamie and Jaden are out on one side, you're going to shade Jamie and make Jaden a shooter. And she certainly is capable of making them. But that's what you're going to do. That's what you're always going to do as a coach. You're going to play the percentages.
With a team like TCU, I think I counted 9 transfers. Do you just scout this team, or do you deep dive and look at maybe what some other players?
Yeah, I mean, I think like for instance, it's really interesting because I was studying all their individual shot charts, and you think Fisher, maybe when you just start watching, you don't recognize the fact that she averages over a point per shot, that she's well over a point per shot inside of 5 feet. Like, she's been a really good finisher for them. She just hasn't been a high volume. That she hasn't missed a shot from the 3 on the right side of the floor, but is really struggling on the left side of the floor. There are things like that you study, and you try to analyze the fact that who are the players that are the most efficient when they take shots, Lucy for them, 21. She hadn't taken a shot outside the lane. Not one. Like, not even a shot clock running out and the ball ends up in her hands and takes a perimeter shot. Like, everything has been in the lane. And so, you have to play her for that. You have to understand the reason she is efficient is because she takes good shots for her. And so what you want to do is make players that are inefficient take more of their shots. And so to me, that's – I'm not going back and watching what Fisher did in American when she was, MVP, and I'm not, every kid leaves for a different reason, and they have a bunch of one-year kids, and they lost some kids. And so, the uniqueness about them is they really are not running a single play that they ran a year ago. So, you're just trying to dive into, like, how are they playing now? What do they feel like they're good at? And I'm sure if you ask Reagan, she'd say right now they're way ahead defensively than they are offensively. Like, I think they play really hard, and they gave us 2.5 to 3 really good quarters a year ago, and then we would get away from them mid-third quarter and kind of push it out. But they're going to play hard, and, I think it's a bunch of players – maybe outside of Fisher that maybe got a little overlooked, maybe didn't get a ton of minutes, and so this is their opportunity to get minutes. So they're still just, probably enjoying a different role, enjoying, the ball getting in their hands more and not being a 6th or 7th player or a 9th player at a Nebraska or at an Iowa or, the different places they've been. So, I think they play hard. I think they try to attack the glass. I think they come at you and draw fouls. They just, they'd probably be closer to 70 points a game if they just made foul shots. But you could say we'd be closer to, where I want to be if we made foul shots. So I think you got to look at it that way rather than going back and spending a lot of time watching synergy of where they were at, because all these teams they played for play so differently.
What's your sense of the strength of the Big 12 as a whole so far?
You know, I think I started talking about it earlier. I think that we've got a lot of teams with a lot of veterans, you know, that had good years last year and are very much in run it back mode. I think, you know, we're one of the only teams playing freshmen significant minutes. I mean, you see one here or there. But I think from an identity perspective, you've got a lot of teams who know who they are. Iowa State knows where the ball's going. I think they improved with Soares. I mean, she's really, really good for them. And maybe the missing piece that they didn't have last year to keep teams honest. You know, Kansas, I think just they know who they are. They know they're gonna ice ball screens. They know they're running all the same actions they did a year ago. So they know them. They execute them. They know each other. I think Jackson has been rim protecting as well as any post player in America. So I think they've been really, really good defensively, even when they've had games where they've struggled to score. I mean, OU, how good did they look against Florida? I mean, I was watching them traveling on the 21st in that Jordan Classic game, and, I mean, they just kind of annihilated Florida. And they're going to play fast, and they're going to play a lot of players, and you just got to keep up with them, you know, and you got to be tough because they're going to rip the ball out of your hands. And, you know, so I just think the teams in this league are all – I said this when I got the job. I think the uniqueness about the Big 12 is you have a ton of different styles, and you don't see that in the SEC. You don't see that in the Big 10. You don't see that in the Pac-12. Like, I'm not saying there's not a team in each of those leagues that's a little bit different, but overall you're going to see athletes in the SEC. You're going to see a lot of skill and movement and three-point shooting in the Pac-12. And so to have an Iowa State be who they are, and that's very different from Kansas, which is very different from Texas. That's all about pressing and being athletic and making you uncomfortable. I mean, OSU is shooting the heck out of the ball. You know, so I think you have a lot of different styles, but I think you have a lot of veteran teams that kind of know what they're doing and know what they're looking for. And if they're not, I mean, Texas is pretty veteran in some ways. They just, because they're all transfers, they're like kind of in that mode of, okay, how does this all work together? You know, I mean, Sonia Morris like is playing a very different style at Texas than she played at DePaul, you know? DePaul's about possession, you know? It's about how many possessions can we create. So we're going to run around, we're going to press, but they're more like OU in terms of, like, we care if you score, but we really just want to run it back at you. You know, Vic never wants anyone to score. So, you know, kind of that whole mentality has to change for her. But she's making shots for them. So, that was a really long answer. I mean, the Big 12 is good. I mean, I watch a lot of basketball, and I just think our league is a little underappreciated. And I know we have 4 ranked teams, and I know none of them are in the top 10 anymore. But I just think the league is really, really good. And, you know, we just want to start it out right.
Who might not be available on Saturday?
Asia probably won't be back. Dre won't be playing. We should, at this point, if nothing happens in the next 48 hours, that we'll suit up 11. But we've had things happen in 24 hours before, so. But yeah, exactly. That's plastic.
Are you still waiting on something on Dre, or is that decision made, or?
I'm gonna let Dre announce that. I mean, I've been living the craziness for 6 months, and so I'm just gonna. It's her career, so I'm gonna let her kind of announce the situation and just be there for her. So, yeah. You got it.